Welcome to your orientation, 1:30 in the afternoon, I guess break, yoga class, what have you. I'm Jamie. I'm one of the yoga instructors with Concordia. I usually teach at Loyola campus, but because due to our special circumstances, like so many of us, I am working online these days, teaching my classes online. And I'm here just to give you a yoga class for the next hour or so. It's not going to be anything crazy, just a couple things to kind of keep in mind, as always with these sorts of things. Listen to what your own body's saying. You can't breathe, you probably shouldn't be there. And just practice with some just attention and care towards your own self, okay? Like I said, we're not going to be doing anything insane. It's going to be a pretty basic general flow class just to loosen us up a bit. I don't know how much you've been sitting today, but I've been sitting in front of a computer for a good while and just get some blood flowing. So without further ado, we're going to start in a wide-legged child's pose, okay? I like the knees pretty wide, about the edges of the mat, the big toes touching one another. And then you want to try to keep the hips fairly low because that's going to get you the best stretch. You're just going to walk your hands as far as you can in front of you, and then just hang out here for a little bit. Okay? Just starting to stretch the hips and the low back, and just take a few really nice full deep breaths with this. Just taking those first few breaths to really just settle into the pose, let your body settle a little bit. Really allowing your belly to soften. Okay, that's going to let the breath move a little bit more into the lower back. We'll take another, 8 or 10 breaths here. And so you can just gently start to press with your arms. That's going to lengthen them a little bit. You're going to bring the forearms off of the ground, start to make them a little bit more active. If you can widen the shoulders, widen the space around the bottom of the neck. I'm going to roll the outer armpits down just a little bit to create some space. And then slowly we're just going to walk the hands off the mat towards the right side, just to take a little bit of a side stretch through the left body. And then slowly walk your hands over and off to the left side. And same thing, just taking a nice little stretch in there. And coming back to center. Make sure your hands are about shoulder width apart. The fingers, first finger especially, is pointing straight forward. And you curl your toes under, lift your hips up, push your thighs back, take downward facing dog. Hold it for a good 6 or 7 breaths here, just this first one. You can bend the knees a little. See if that helps you to lift your hips a little bit higher. So you can widen the shoulder blades, roll the outer armpits down, take another breath or two. And then bend your knees, look forward, walk, step, or jump your feet towards the hands. You're going to come halfway up. I usually do it by taking the hands to the tops of the thighs, just to get lots of length in the spine. And then firm up those quads, the muscles on the front of your legs, and fold forward. If you need more space between your feet, you can take it. And just let your head hang off of the back. Gently move it. Let go of any extra tension in the shoulders and the neck. And then pressing into your feet, firm your legs. Inhale, I'm gonna slowly come all the way upright. And then reach your arms up overhead. I'm just gonna adjust the camera a little so that I have a head in this. All right, I'm gonna start with the first sun salutation. Okay, so feet, I like the big toes touching and the heels a little bit wide, but if you're more comfortable with the feet wider, not a problem. Do what makes sense for you. Just make them point forward, right? Not weird. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up. Good. Exhale, you're gonna fold all the way forward. Exhale completely. Go right to the end of the breath. And then inhale, come halfway up again. And then as you exhale, you're gonna bend your knees, walk, step, or jump back into plank. However, just hold that first plank for a moment. I'm gonna walk through a few different variations of this just because I have no idea who's out there watching. We'll make sure that we have something for everyone. So with your next exhalation, lift your hips up. Press your thighs back. You're gonna come into downward facing dog. Okay, so that's one transition. Keep pushing into the floor. You want to try and lengthen as much as you can the sides of the body. And then bend your knees, forward, walk, step, or jump your feet towards the hands. Come halfway up again. Exhale, fold. Push into your feet. Inhale, come all the way up again. And then exhale, bring your arms down. We're going to do the same thing again. Inhale, reach up. Exhale and fold all the way forward. Let your head hang off of the neck and crunch it up. Exhale, bend your knees. Walk, step, or jump your feet back again into plank. So you can go straight into downward dog if you prefer. Okay, if you want to work on a different transition here, you're going to bend your knees, bring them to the floor, bend your arms. Come down and then inhale into an upward dog or a cobra. Okay, it's up to you. And then curl your toes under, lift your hips up, and back to downward dog. So you have the choice. Do what makes sense for you. Take a couple nice deep breaths. Bend your knees, look forward, walk, step, or jump your feet towards the hands. Come halfway up. Exhale, fold. Press into your feet. Inhale, come all the way up, right? Reach your arms up. Exhale, bring them down. Same thing again. Inhale, reach up. Go right to the end of the movement and the end of the breath. Exhale, all the way. Inhale, come halfway up. Super long spine. Exhale, bend your knees, walk, step, or jump your feet back into plank. Okay, you're welcome to lower your knees and bend your arms. Try and keep it controlled. Inhale into upward dog. Keep the chest open, so this isn't in the neck, right? The neck is long. Exhale, walk, step, or jump back to downward dog. Hold it a few nice deep breaths. Bend your knees, forward walk, step, or jump your feet towards the hands. Come halfway up. Exhale, fold. Press into your feet. Inhale, come all the way up again. Exhale, arms down. Do that a couple more times. Inhale, reach up. Really nice and tall. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, nice long spine. Exhale, walk, step, or jump back to plank. Again, you're welcome to come straight into downward dog or lower. Inhale to upward dog. Exhale to downward dog. Hold a few breaths. You're pushing the floor, really trying to lengthen the sides of the body. And then reach the hips up as high as you possibly can. If that means you have to come up on your toes or bend the knees, great, do that. Find that height. And then see about working with the legs. Bend your knees, look forward, walk, step or jump your feet towards the hands. Halfway up. Exhale, fold. Listen to your feet, inhale, reach all the way up again. And exhale. Good, one more time. Inhale, reach all the way up. And exhale and fold. Inhale, nice long spine. Exhale, walk, step, or jump back into plank. Good, and slowly lower. Inhale, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Hold it a few breaths. Nice lifted hips, long spine, full, complete, even breaths. And then bend your knees, look forward, walk, step, or jump your feet towards the hands. Come halfway up. And exhale, fold all the way. Pressing to your feet, inhale, come all the way upright. And exhale, bring your arms down. So from here, you're gonna bend the knees. And if you can touch the ground, go right until you touch the ground. Just turn. I'm turning side to side, not because you should, but so you can see different angles of this. Okay? So you want to get nice and low with this. You also want to keep the legs in line with each other, so you don't want to be kind of like wherever. That's why I have my legs together, so they can't really go anywhere. And then you're going to stay nice and low in the hips and bring your arms up. Right? So it's not a really deep back bend here. I want us to work in a kind of neutral spine position. You can feel free to drop lower if you like, or not drop as low. Without popping the ribs forward or arching the back, just bring your arms up. Okay, to wherever you can. We'll hold that for a couple more moments. And then exhale, push your thigh bones back and fold all the way forward. Take a couple breaths there. And then do that one more time. Bend your knees, drop the hips nice and low. Inhale, reach the arms up. Tuck the tail in just slightly, just to keep the length of the spine. You should feel like you're compressing anything. And then exhale again, push the thigh bones back, fold forward, let the head hang. One last time, as you exhale, bend your knees. Stick nice and low. Inhale, reach the arms up. Tuck the tail in, pull the ribs in, lengthen the sides of the body. And then exhale, push the thighs back, fold forward. Inhale, come halfway up. So from here, it's going to be the same, like that first sun salutation. Bend your knees, place your hands, walk, step, or jump back to plank. Bend your arms, lower down. Inhale to upward dog. Exhale to downward dog. Pause here for a moment. So you're going to come into a lunge. You're going to turn your left foot 45 degrees. Step your right foot between the hands. Now if that doesn't work, just do what you need to do. The back foot. Hug the right sitting bum cheek in, and then slowly make your way up. So warrior one, Virabhadrasana 1. You want your front knee right over top of the heel. It's okay if it's a little bit behind, but try to get it over top. What you don't want is it over the foot. If it is, back up your back foot. Reach up. And then exhale. You're going to step all the way back to downward dog. I'm just going to simplify this a little bit. Sitting bones lifting. Turn your right foot 45 degrees. Step your left foot between the hands. Like I said, do whatever you need to do to get it into the right position. Okay, but take some walking around. It's fine. Do what you need to do. And then inhale. Make your way up. So Virabhadrasana 1, first warrior. Hold it for a couple breaths. And then exhale, fold all the way forward. Step all the way back to downward dog. Hold it a couple breaths. Bend your knees, look forward, walk or jump your feet towards the hands, come halfway up. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees again, drop the hips nice and low. So coming back to that Utkatasana. And then return to standing. Bring your arms down. We're going to do the same thing again. Bend your knees. Reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Release the head and neck. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, walk, step, or jump back into plank. Lower. Take upward dog. Come to downward dog. Left foot turns. Right foot forward. Okay. Set your feet up. Set your legs. And then come up. Reaching up. Use your arms to think of lengthening the sides of the body. And then slowly come forward. We'll step all the way back to downward dog again. Turn your right foot. Bring your left foot forward. Place your legs first. And then come up. And then slowly come back. We're going to step straight back into dog one more time. Bend your knees, look forward. Walk, step, or jump your feet towards the hands. Come halfway up. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees to lower the hips. Raise your arms up. Hold it here a moment. Just trying to face you again. And get down nice and low. Whatever you can do, but do your best. Hands come to the center of your chest. Okay, shoulders roll back so you're not hunching forward. Okay, from here, take a breath in. Exhale, we're going to turn towards the right. So the left elbow comes to the right. And you press the hands together. And the knees want to do their own thing, but try and keep them centered. Breathe into the rib cage. Breathe into the spine. And then inhale, come back to center. If you need to stand up and take a break, do so. If you can stay, stay. And then exhale. If you're going to come down, because we're going to go to the second side. So the right elbow to the left leg, the palms together, knees trying to stay in line with each other. That's going to give you a deeper twist. And really full deep breaths with this. And then inhale to center. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Release your head fully. And then press into your feet from your legs. Come all the way up to standing. We're going to take a wide stance. Now, if you happen to have blocks, they're really handy. And for this, you're going to be behind your ankle. If you don't have blocks, it's okay. I'll give you instructions for where to put your hands. It's just helpful. Inhale, arms up to the side. You're going to start with the right foot first in this pose always. You're going to lift the heel up, turn it in. Pivot and turn the toes out. Now you're going to set the left heel back just a little bit and then firm up your legs and reach towards the right. Just as far as you can. And then inhale, come back up. So I want to warm up the hips quite a bit for this. Inhale, you're almost lifting the side of the body up as you reach over. And then inhale, come back up. One more like that. Lift, reach, then take your hand down to the block. If you don't have a block there, place the hand on the inside of the leg. I know it's so tempting to push it into the leg, but don't. Try. Creates bad habits in the body. Open the chest. Open the shoulders. If you can reach the right arm or the left arm up, reach it up. Nice. Full deep breaths with this. So it's not really a side bend, right? Both sides of the body are equally long. The best place to work this is in the hips. That's where it has the best benefit. A few nice full breaths here. And then exhale, I'm going to bend into that front leg and reach the arm overhead. So I'm still opening the chest. Let's go a little deeper into that. Try and get into the hip crease a little. And then inhale, straighten up that leg, reach up towards the ceiling. And exhale, bend the knee. Keep that back heel anchored. Okay. I'm not allowing the knee to come over my heel, but if I was, I could move my foot a little bit just to prevent that. Inhale, straighten the leg, reach up. One more time, exhale, bend the knee. It's going to Parsvakonasana. Now hold it here for a moment. Okay, make sure your knee is lining up with your second and third toe. It's not going anywhere. Open the chest a little bit more. And now we're going to take that top hand, that left hand, and bring it to the hip. Now, if you have a block, you're going to take the block with you as you bring the hand and the block in front of the foot and slightly to the outside. This can work with your hand and no block. You just have to be bendier or work with a bent leg, okay? From here, the back leg can come a little more forward. It's a little easier to get into from here. You can shift the weight into the right foot. Lift your left leg up. Now, if the hand is beside the foot, it's very difficult to balance, so you want to give yourself enough room here. You can start to straighten the bottom leg. Make sure the toes, your left toes, are facing the same direction as the hip. Okay? You can open the hips more, no problem. But what you don't want is the hips facing one way and then trying to over-rotate the leg because that will pinch and not feel good. If you're good with the balance here and you want to reach up to the hip, great. If not, look at the floor. It will be easier to balance. And then hand down. Bend your standing leg very slowly and gracefully. Come all the way back up. Turn your feet in. Be glad you have two legs. We get to do this again. Okay? So the left foot. The heel comes first, and then pivot and turn the leg. Okay? And then your right heel can slide back just a little bit, give you some good opening in the legs. Inhale, arms up. Make sure your quad in this front leg is working, okay? It's going to help to align the knee. And we're going to bend into the hip crease. Reach as far as you can. And inhale, back. It's the same bit of warming up that we did on the other side. Inhale, think of lifting the hip, lifting that side body and reaching. And inhaling up. Good, and then lift, 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 lift. Reach as far as you can. Take your hand down to the block or maybe to the inside, maybe the outside of the leg. Just try not to push the shin bone down. Open the chest. Open the shoulders. Reach the arm up. So Trikonasana. Okay. Nice triangle. Taking a few really full deep breaths here. I'm going to do quite a few little standing poses here because these are the ones that are really good for the hips and the back, especially if you do a lot of sitting. You're going to bend your knee and reach over. So going to Parsvakonasana. You can adjust your feet a little wider if you need. So then you're going to drop those hips down really nice and low. And then inhale, straightening up that leg. Reach up. You put your head where it feels good, right? A neutral position is fine. Right? The classical position is the head turning upwards, but if that pains your neck, don't do it, right? And then reaching over. Keep that back heel connected to the floor. And then reaching up. And one more time. Parsvakonasana. Hold it for a moment. And then bring your hand to your hip. So that block is going to come from you. Like I said, if you don't have a block, right, you can bring your hand to the ground. Just harder. Okay. You're gonna bring your foot in a little bit because that does make it easier. If you're really close to a wall, just be careful you don't go crashing into it as you come up. I've done this before. I know where the wall is. I'm okay. Don't fear on my behalf. Okay, so you come up into the pose first. As you gain flexibility, you can start to straighten the leg. But as I mentioned on the other side, toe and hip on the top leg facing the same way. And the more you can push that heel away, okay, the better the balance is. And then we work to open the pose. The hand can reach up. Have a nice deep breaths. So balance will be aided by looking at the ground, okay? Challenged by looking up towards your hand. To come down, hand to the hip. Bend your standing leg gracefully. Come down. And then pivot your feet to face forward again. Take your hands to your hips. Inhale, we're going to reach all the way up here. Stretch up towards the ceiling. Exhale. Take your hands behind you. Interlace them at your back. Pull them down towards the floor. And bring your hands to your hips again. You're going to fold forward this time. So the outside edges of the feet are straight. Bring your hands to the ground. Now, usually when we do this pose, most of us, the hips go back, especially if you're quite on the bendy side. So what I'm going to ask you to do is bring the hips in line with the heels, so you're not leaning back. Okay. And then without leaning farther back, then start to walk your hands a little farther behind. You can go where you can go with this. Okay. If you can bring the head down, you can, but that's not the point, right? It's just to hips straighten, or hips and stretch and all this kind of stuff. Hold for a couple more breaths. You gotta keep in mind when you watch these kind of things, you watch these videos, what you don't see is like the 15, 16 years of nearly daily practice that I've been doing of this, right? So if it looks easy, it's because, well, I spent a lot of time with it. If it's easy for you and you just started, you're so lucky. Okay. Inhale, you're gonna come halfway up now. Again, if you have blocks, particularly if you have a lot of tightness in the legs, it can be really helpful to raise your body up a little. You know, and I use and encourage you to use whatever's around, especially if you're at home. You know, chairs work great for this kind of stuff. So you want to be kind of in a flat back position. You're going to take your left hand to the block, so it's kind of right under your chest. Bring your right hand to your hip. Now firm your legs, because your legs aren't going to move and your hips aren't going to move. And you're going to turn your torso towards the right. Okay. Neither leaning forward or back on your feet, just turning. If you can get the shoulders stacked up and you want to reach the arm up, great, do that. If that pains your shoulder and you're doing something strange with it, then don't do that, right? Breathe. Find the length in your spine. That's more important than any other thing with this. And slowly come down and switch hands. So that hand is in the center. The other hand comes to your hip. And again, push down into that hand to drive the rotation. It's going to help you to find more length and space in the shoulders. Inhale, find more length in the spine. Exhale, maybe turn a little more. Try not to let your right hip drop down. And then reach your arm up, hold it a few breaths. And then slowly come back, look at the floor, firm your legs. Take your hands to your hips. And come upright. Just going to wiggle the feet in just a little. So it's a narrower stance for the next couple poses. Okay, you're going to turn your right foot again. So heel, toe. And now for this one, I want my heels to line up. So if I drew a straight line back from my right heel, I want at the very least my left heel in that line. If my hips are tight, I want them not at all in the same line and then separate. Okay, it's going to give you more room to work with. So you're going to turn your hips to face the direction that your right foot is facing, wherever that is. Which might mean you have to adjust your back foot. If you do that, okay? Don't try and crank your knee around. Okay? Hips are squared forward. Tailbone just a tiny bit pulling in, just so we're not in a sway back to begin with. And then inhale, reach your arms up and use them to help you find more length in your spine. Now both legs are going to attempt to stay straight here for this. As you exhale, you take your arms up to the side, you're just going to bend forward. That first place we're going to go with the arms nice and wide, a little bit of an airplane pitch kind of thing here. And then exhale. Take your hands down. Feel free to use blocks if you have them available. Try not to bend your front leg. And one of the things that often happens with this is we shift the weight into the front leg. No, put the weight into the back leg. It's almost like somebody's got a strap or something around your hips and is pulling you back so that the spine gets this lovely bit of action and stretching. Just hang out there for a few breaths. Firm your legs, make them strong, come halfway up, hands to the hips, and the rest of the way up. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, you're going to take the hands behind you this time. You can either hold the wrists or elbows, if you can get them into some sort of reverse star position. You can even just maybe your fingertips touching. And then if you wiggle them up a little, wiggle them up, press the elbows back. And then exhale one more time. We're going to fold from the hips. Okay, try and square the hips the whole time so that when you come into this flexion in the spine, okay, you're working evenly, so you're not in a twist coming into the pose. Okay, even if it means you don't go as low or it doesn't, look a certain way. Okay, work with what it feels like in your body. Firm up your legs. Inhale, slowly come all the way up. Release your hands. Bring them to the hips. So one last pose on this side. You're going to bring your left arm up. Okay. So left arm, right foot. Okay. It's the opposite. So coming into a twist. So you're going to bend forward. Once again, from the hips. Reach as far forward as you can with that left hand. Get as long as you can. It's almost like someone's pulling your right hip back. And then take that left hand to the block or the floor or your leg. A deeper twist is going to be to the outside of the leg, and then you're going to turn your torso to the right. All right, so push down into your left hand, rotate, reach that right arm up. Try and lengthen your spine, keep digging your left heel down into the ground, hold it for a few breaths. And bring your hand to your hip. Turn to look at the floor. Come up. At your feet. Pause for a moment. Readjust as you need to because we did some movements of the legs. And then second side. Okay? Put your left heel in, left toes out. And then move your right foot. Like you usually have to turn it quite dramatically in order to get the hips to square. And then prioritizing that for the sake of our spines, right? So it's on purpose. Right? Inhale, reach your arms up. Okay, pull your tailbone slightly in so you're not in a big sway back with this. There's length in the spine. Exhale, take the arms out to the side. Hinge forward. Try and balance the hips so you're not going into it in a rotation. Okay, get them as even as you can. And then exhale, you can bring the arms down, you can walk them forward, you can use a block, whatever it is that makes the most sense for you. Okay. The weight always wants to go forward in this pose, so keep pressing it back. That back leg is like pulling your hips back. Take a few good deep breaths here. You make your legs super strong. Come halfway up. And make sure you're stable. And then hands to the hips and come up. Inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, take your hands behind you. Either hold elbows or wrists or reverse prayer, whatever works for you today. Keeping in mind it can change, just like day to day. Open the chest, elbows back. You can even lean back just slightly. And then exhale. Long spine. Okay, and you go where you can go with it. Don't worry about, I guess that's the nice thing about these online classes. You can't really see the people next to you when you compare yourself. I feel like that's a benefit. Inhale, come halfway up. Slowly come across to the way. Release your hands. The hands to the hips. So for the twist, it's the opposite arm that comes up. So the right arm's going to come up if the left leg is in front. Okay? So use that to help you lengthen the side and almost square the hips a little more. You're going to fold from the hips, keep reaching, 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 and then take your hand down. Okay? It can come to the inside of the foot. It's going to be easier to balance there. But if you want a deeper twist, it comes to the outside of the foot. And then you rotate. Okay? You got to think about really pulling that left hip back towards the wall behind you. And that left arm can reach out. And then turn with the floor from your legs. Bring your hands to your hips. Come all the way up. Pivot your feet. Take them a little tiny bit wider once again. Inhale, reach them up. Interlace the fingers. Press up towards the ceiling. And then take your hands down behind you. Interlace them. This time we're going to fold forward from the hips. Taking the hands with you if that's appropriate. They could also stay on your back, right? They don't have to go anywhere. Firm your legs again. Inhale, come all the way back up. Wiggle your feet, heel, toe, toe, all the way back in. All right, from here, let's do a nice slow little vinyasa, a little sun salutation after all of that. See if it feels the same or different. Exhale, fold all the way. Go nice and slow. There's no rush with this. Inhale, come halfway up. Find that length in your spine. Exhale, walk, step, or jump back into plank. From your plank, if you wish, lower. Inhale into an upward dog. Exhale into a downward dog. Hold it for a few breaths. Bend your knees. Look forward, walk, step, or jump your feet towards the hands. Come halfway up. Hold it. Press into your feet. Inhale, come all the way up again, and then exhale. Arms down. Stick your feet about hip width apart, give or take. You can put a block under your heels if you have one, because that will help. You can also lower down and balance on your toes. If you're able to, you can get your heels right down. Make it go a little wider. I'm going to come into this low little squat here. Okay. You might feel more comfortable balancing on your legs. Okay? You might feel more comfortable balancing on a chair. That's also fine. If you're able to, though, you're going to bring your elbows in front of your knees. And just gently press. Okay? You want to try and stay equal between the two sides, the two hips, right? One is always a little more flexible than the other. It's tempting to go and just like hang out there, but really try and stay equal. Be nice, full deep breaths here. I like this one because it's just a nice little back stretch release kind of thing. And then if you're feeling adventurous, you reach your arms forward and see if you can gracefully sit down. I don't trust myself enough, and I don't know you guys well enough to fall on my butt and roll backwards, so we'll do it this way. Take your feet in front of you. Bring your hands to your hips. We're going to use our arms for this first little bit. So you're going to push down into the ground to just help you sit really nice and tall. Make sure your shoulders are rolled back. Okay? If when you sit in this position, okay, it ends up being something like this and you're kind of holding on for dear life, okay, if you sit on a block, okay, or more, okay, that will help you immensely. Okay, so don't be shy of the support that you need to make the pose work for your body, right? And we're going to just start to come forward, wherever the pose is for you. Okay, try to go from the hips. You want to try and lengthen the spine to move into the pose, not round the spine and then try and yank your way into the pose. It doesn't work like that. That's a great way to wreck your back and hate your yoga practice. Okay? Even if it means you don't get to bend forward very far, that's okay. You're still doing yoga. And it's better. That's where you'll get the stretch and the happy and the lifting that you require. I mean, flexibility is like anything, right? You can train strength, you can train flexibility. It's just boring. Because it takes a long time. You gotta sit there for a while. Breathe into your back. Take a few more nice deep breaths here. And then slowly make your way upright. So you can see, if you're on a block already, stay on a block because this works on a block too. You're going to bend your right leg in, fold it out to the side. I've got the heel coming to the inside of the left leg. Hands beside you, again, just to find length. Inhale, reach the arms up. Find even more length. And then fold forward. You can take hold of ankle, foot. You like to have a strap to wrap around their foot, but it's not the best use of the strap. Right? Often, as soon as we add force and pulling to resistance, we encounter injury. But if it's just to kind of give you something to balance, that's not a problem. You can use it that way. Just don't yank on. I want you guys to enjoy yoga for a long time. And slowly come all the way back up. Bring your knee back in, stretch both legs out. Do the same on the second side. So you're going to bend your left knee in, bring the foot into the thigh, and then start to fold forward. You can see all my notebooks and stuff off on the side. Okay. Same second leg. Sit up tall, find the length, reach up. Fold as well as you can from the hips with length in your spine. And then just find a place and hang out there. You know, that place where you get a bit of a sensation of stretch, but it's not overwhelming, where the breath has movement and freedom. And then slowly and all the way up. Bring your legs back together. Reach forward. Take a few nice deep breaths here. And then come back up. And your right leg again. Cross it over the left leg. There's many different variations of this pose. I'm going to do the simplest one for today, which is just basically this. Your left hand's going to come to that right leg. Just kind of put it in gently. When you might already feel a good stretch in the hip as you do that. And then your right hand is going to come behind you. And you just turn. Try and keep the vertical axis of your spine so you don't like lounge back in this. Like really get nice and tall. If you want to go a little tiny bit deeper with that, we're going to raise that left arm, rotate the torso more, and then bring the left arm to the outside of that right leg. And you can bend it, you can stretch it, whatever feels good for you there. And breathe. And then slowly release that. Straighten that leg out. Do the same thing on the other side. Bend the knee. Cross the foot over. Hold the leg with your opposite hand. So it's the left leg, it's the right hand. Get tall. Slowly turn. So you're still gently pulling that knee in. Okay, that's where you're going to get the stretch in the hip. If you just kind of let it flop, you'll get a twist, but you won't get that deep hip stretching, which you might decide is preferable. That's fine too. Okay, if you decide you want to go a little deeper into that twist, you're going to reach that right arm up so that you lengthen the right side of the body and then keep going. Turn. Arm against the leg. Keep making the spine longer and longer. And slowly release that. Bend both of your knees. You're going to lay down onto your knees. Okay. Place 2 feet on the ground, about hip width apart. And you want your knees, your feet, and your hips pretty well lined up. And shoulders under you, so kind of scoop your shoulder blades down so they're not too bunched up at the top. Bring your elbows in nice and close. We're going to do the first one with the arms bent because it's a little bit easier to ground the back of the arms. Okay. Without letting your knees go flailing out to the side, you're going to press down to the feet and the hands and lift your hips up. You're coming into a bridge. So you want your legs both perpendicular to the floor, not something like this. Okay? Keep them lined up. Lift the hips, lift the chest, press the arms down, and breathe. Squeeze an imaginary ball between your knees. And then slowly come back down. I mean, if you have blocks, your work is to put the block between your knees, your lower thighs. Because it means the glutes don't take over everything. You're going to get a little bit more better work in it. But if you don't have blocks, don't worry about it. Second one, press down to the arms, down into the feet, toes turn slightly inwards. And once again, lift up. Lift the chest, squeeze that imaginary ball or very real block if you have one. And maybe you can press the arms all the way straight and still keep them pushing into the ground. Sometimes when you straighten the arms, they kind of just like lose that connection. Connect. And then slowly come on again. And rest. So we'll do a third one as well. The alternate position will be to interlace the fingers underneath the vest. If that doesn't work for you, I always teach in progression, so you can always do the previous version, right? Elbows press down, feet press down, hips lift up. Inhale to really open up the front of the body. Right? If you're comfortable with pressing the hands down, press them down. If you want to interlace the fingers and stretch the shoulders a little more, then do that. And then release your hands. Come all the way down. Hug your knees in really nice and close. Like super, super close to you. You can even wrap your arms right around them if you like. Gently, 10 movements, side to side. So I chose this practice because, lots of us are sitting at desks, and presumably a lot of you are students or about to be students. This is all very good stuff for I've been sitting too long and need to move, and my back is killing me and my shoulders are tight. Okay. And open your arms up to the sides, so they're in line with your shoulders. Bring your knees over to the right. You can hold them with that right hand and just soften. And let the shoulders rest. That's really nice deep breaths here. Just let the body kind of start to settle and relax. Allow your belly to soften so that the breath can move like all through the body, right? Slowly bring the legs up. And slowly bring them over to the other side. Same thing, you can rest your left hand on top of them. And then just allow the right shoulder to release. It might not release all the way down into the ground. It might. Maybe it's easy. And slowly start to bring legs back up. Place your feet down on the floor. And just readjust your spine so it feels really good. And just let your knees gently fall side to side. Doesn't have to be a big movement, a small movement. Bring your arms up. Hold the elbows, take the elbows the opposite direction. The knees just little side movements. If there's any other movements that you just feel like would feel really, really good, like maybe hugging the knees to the chest, maybe doing a one-arm handstand. No, that was a joke. Don't actually do that. We're trying to calm the nervous system down. Just, if there's something that you just know is going to do what you need done, do it. And then we'll just take a very short little shavasana here just to rest. So the legs will stretch out. If when you extend your legs, the back feels, usually the solution is to either bend the knees again or put something under your thighs. It can be a rolled up blanket or top. That will usually just make the back go, okay. So you want to be able to relax, whatever's going to let you do that. Adjust yourself so that you feel like the skin and the flesh and bones of the back of your body are kind of moving downwards in the direction of your feet. So you just have to usually do some little adjustments and then give everything a little shake so that there's no extra tension holding on anywhere. Just hang out here for a few minutes. Do absolutely nothing. Find yourself holding any tension anywhere in the body. Use your exhalations to let it go a little bit. You're perfectly welcome to stay here longer if you wish and you have the luxury of the time and space. Please enjoy. For the rest of us who have other things we must attend to, start to move your fingers and your toes and just start to breathe again. Bringing a little bit of attention back to your body. And then bend your knees in. So come out of this, roll over to your right side and just rest on your side for a moment. Okay, stay there for a second, just to give yourself time for the blood pressure to go back to where it needs to go, for your mental awareness to go back to where it needs to go. And pushing yourself upright. Find any comfortable seated position and just pause for a second. Yeah, just take a moment to let that all sink in. With your body again. Take a really nice full breath in. And a really nice full breath out. And thank you guys very, very much. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. And I hope I'll see you around in some of the online classes that we're offering this fall, some of our regular in-person classes. Have a great day. Thank you very much.